What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again, and I've said it before, I will say it again. Uldren is quite possibly one of, if not the best written characters in all of Destiny. In fact, I've made quite a few videos on the subject, but apparently that intrigue doesn't just stop in the game, it seems to extend to the very advertising he's in. I'm sure everybody remembers E3 2018's teaser for Forsaken. I mean, how could you not? It starts off with a beaten and battered Cade. It shows us his ghost, Sundance, being murdered. And then it shows Uldren level the ace of spades at Cade and execute him, all while the haunting tones of Murdered by Deaths Go to the Light play. A fitting mood piece to set the tone for the story of Forsaken. But what if I told you there was more to it than that? What if I told you the use of this song wasn't to convey anything about our Guardian or Cade, but about Uldren's journey as a character? And what if I told you that in this song, we see a roadmap for Destiny, from Forsaken all the way up through Beyond Light? Don't believe me? Let's dive right in.
A lonesome star in a bitter sky.
Now, the lonesome star in a bitter sky is the Traveler. We actually see the star metaphor used for the Traveler throughout the lore. The most notable usage, however, comes from Ghost Fragment Mysteries 2. Quote, "A star, I think. We count on stars as steady friends because they always rise and they always shine. But a star is a delicate truce. An explosion caught by its own mass, so that it can't erupt and it can't collapse. Thus I imagine the state of the machine might be. But one force or another has gone awry, and now it rests here, snuffed and broken, waiting for the two rival forms of ruin to be set in balance again."
I hear the hungry ghosts calling out in the night.
Now, while it would be amusing to point to the ghosts and go, "Ah, ghosts! See? Ghosts!" Clearly, this is a metaphor. Uldren is surrounded by ghosts that call out to him. We have the Fallen and the Scorn. The Fallen are the ghosts of the Elixni, this once great civilization that has fallen to despotism and piracy and are a shell of what they formerly were. And the Scorn are kind of revenants of the Fallen. Again, ghosts. And throughout the story of Forsaken, Uldren has Riven calling out to him, a ghost from his past. And this ghost takes the form of his dead sister, haunting him.
Just a couple victims of this brutal reprise.
A reprise is a repeated passage in music. In Forsaken, Uldren kills Cade, and we kill Uldren, perpetuating a cycle of violence. In fact, throughout the story of Forsaken, we are posed the question, are we doing this for the right reasons? Are we doing this for justice, not vengeance?
So, this is to be a reckoning.
Wait, not like this. Look at him, he's finished. Even with everything he's done, we can't just—
You have no idea what he's done! If Cade was here, I know what he would do, Guardian. Do you?
Yes. What would the notorious Cade 6 do? You have his gun. Seems you get the last word.
Uldren had to kill Cade, or risk losing his army, his freedom, being unable to rescue his sister. And in this, both Cade and Uldren are victims of circumstance.
Am I strong enough to let things just die?
And no, Uldren wasn't strong enough to let things just die. Losing his sister fundamentally broke him. And then we come to the chorus of the song, which will have different meanings based on where Uldren's at in his character journey.
I fight just to keep the spark alive. But if there's nothing on the other side, why can't I leave well enough alone and go to the light?
Throughout the story of Forsaken, we see Uldren struggle against the universe, against us, to keep that spark of hope alive that he can save his sister. But what if there is nothing on the other side of that door to the Dreaming City? What then? What if everything was for nothing? And ultimately, it was. We also, throughout Forsaken, see Uldren falling more and more into darkness and corruption. Awoken exist in a state of constant battle between the them and the darkness aspect that helped create them. And as Uldren continues on his journey throughout Forsaken, he turns from the light. Not the light of the Traveler, though that is part of his duality, but the light that makes him him, that keeps him grounded. We then come to the second set of verses, which starts the part of the song that's not in the teaser. Now, this section has less to do with Uldren or Crow, and more to do with setting up the state of the world for the re-emergence of Crow, and his redemption arc. And if you thought the first half was on the nose, well, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, the darkness has arrived.
A shadowy hand turns the page. A dark theater moves across the stage. Teeth like a comb scrape against the sky.
I mean, do I really have to spell it out? Of course not, but I'm going to do so anyways because, well, this is a lot of fun. The next chapter of Destiny, as everybody knows, is called Beyond Light. But even before that, with Shadowkeep, with Season of the Arrivals, it was the darkness that turned the pages of the story that we were in. And the arrival of the darkness has signaled a new chapter in the story of Destiny. A new era, Bungie might say. The darkness is quite literally the shadowy hand turning the page. And we're just actors in this play. This game between the light and the darkness. And the world is our stage. There's also something to the image of pyramid ships being like teeth scraping across the sky.
Feeling alone in a room full of light. Stealing a few extra moments and fighting against time.
Now, as I said a few moments ago when we started this section, this part of the song is basically setting up the state of the universe for Crow's return as a character. And while one could interpret this as Crow feeling alone and rejected for crimes that he didn't commit, this actually rings more true to the events happening in Season of Arrivals and Zavala's state of mind. Zavala has apparently lost faith in the light, in the Traveler, and is willing to do whatever is necessary for humanity to survive, even if survival is a temporary condition, and everything is counting down to the fall of the city, to the loss of the planets, to the war between the light and the darkness coming to a head. Now that we've set up the world that Crow is reborn into, we come to Crow as a character.
Pushed on and pushed aside.
Now, this is something we see in the lore. Quote, "For the last 3 weeks, the Guardian has been camping in a rusted-out shipping container, far off the main pathways that are always buzzing with sparrows. He stays out of the way of other Guardians, and if he can't do that, he keeps his helmet on, always. All he has to his name is some beat-up gear, a ring, a silk sheet. Those are the things he woke up with. He wears the ring on a chain, and keeps the sheet as a comforting reminder of something he can't remember. Sometimes he wears it draped over his shoulders. The fabric is so fine that it makes him think about the place he must have come from before this life, and how much nicer it is than where he is now. He spends his days alone. Other Guardians are an unpredictable source of pain and confusion, and they see him the same way. Some react to him with outright hostility. Others are overcome by some personal and unexplained grief. He doesn't know why. That was the most painful lesson of being reborn. It is better to be alone. So he's always alone now, except for his ghost.
I've changed my song to match each story. I've changed sides.
Crow/Uldren has a very significant character journey, not just in game but in lore. He's the Prince of the Awoken, but before that, he was just a loving twin brother to Mara, a human of the Golden Age, leaving the orbit of the Traveler to find and make their way. Then, as they were leaving, the collapse happened and they were forever changed. They became awoken. And in the Distributary, the bonds of immortality would change his relationship with his sister. And when they left the Distributary, Mara became the Queen of the Awoken, and again Uldren had to transform himself. Up until the moment where he lost his sister, where he would unite the fallen houses under one banner, House Dusk, and create the Scorn, kill Cade, and in turn be killed by us. And then he was reborn as something new, something else, a Guardian. But unfortunately, there is no escaping who he was. So while it's unfair for Crow to have to pay for the sins of the father, he will. And that leads into his redemption arc, in my opinion.
Can I watch them as they fall? when they finally try to stand.
I think this can be attributed to where Crow stands now, not just as a Guardian, but his responsibility to the Vanguard through the Vanguard Dare, something I think he'll honestly excel at, which segues perfectly into our final verse, before the end of the song.
Redeem myself for everyone I've buried with these hands I find.
And with that, we come full circle in Uldren's story, redemption for the death of Cayde. When you go in and break this all down, it's kind of interesting just to see how on the nose all of this really is when it comes to the story of Destiny and Crow's journey as a character. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, but only if you did. Subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous. Check out our new merch line, the link will be in the description below. But above all else, stay frosty.